Welcome to another episode of AniBreak, the show that breaks down the week's hottest topics in anime, manga, and video games. My name's Jason, and this week we're going to talk about some personal predictions I have for the upcoming press release of Ghost in the Shell Arise. That conference is actually taking place next Tuesday, very early in the morning, but we'll get to that later on in the show. We're also going to talk about a dub for a very popular series, which was just recently announced, and why you should be excited about it, and not just because of the dub. But let's start things off with a trailer. Back in, I would say just early last year, actually probably 2 years ago, I would say at this time, at the Tokyo International Film Festival, I think it's TIFF, I think it's called, or TIFFCOM for short. There was a bit of a move in the anime industry over in Japan to try to create CG movies based on popular anime franchises. We've talked before about a company called Yamagi, which is working on a Gatchaman movie, and unfortunately that's no longer the case. I'm really sad for that because the trailer looked pretty epic. We also showcased a few weeks ago, we have some more news going forward about another movie that was announced back then called Gaiking, based on the classic series, and that looks to gather a decent amount of steam, more so for the fact that the kaiju, the giant mecha battle genre, I think is getting a little more steam now for the fact that there is a movie that's coming stateside, or it's being made stateside, I should say, that's basically an homage to that. So I think they're going to get some good press from that. But the one I was looking forward to the most, that looked absolutely epic, was about a space pirate. Now, we're not going to talk about Bodacious Space Pirates. They don't have a movie that I don't remember yet, but no, we're going to talk about Space Pirate Captain Harlock. Now, they showcased a teaser trailer a couple years ago about how he would look in a movie, and I was already floored then. They're moving, closer and closer to an actual release in Japan, but the fact that they just recently released an international teaser trailer featuring a little more images that we haven't seen before, get to see Harlock in action a little bit, and the fact that this actually has an English narration leads me to believe we're going to get this movie stateside. I cannot wait for this. So why don't we go ahead and check out this trailer. Oh, it looks so good. I cannot wait. Now, for those of you who do not know what this is based off of, it was based off an original manga back in the mid-70s by the worldly famous Leiji Matsumoto, who's worked on incredible stuff. Most people, more modern generations, will probably remember him and his collaboration with Daft Punk for Interstellar 5555, which was basically an hour and 20-minute music video of a Daft Punk Discovery album, and it was an incredible flick. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, you can get it on DVD and Blu-ray relatively cheap. One word to note though, I would actually get the DVD, not the Blu-ray, because the sound and the transfer to Blu-ray just sucked. So get the DVD, you can get it for less than $10, absolutely amazing. But yes, so this is coming out in Japan so far, fall of this year. They haven't specifically stated yet when it's coming stateside, but the fact they created and released an international trailer with an English dub, I mean, doesn't that tell you that it's going to come stateside one way or another? It has to. It so has to. I will fly to Japan and watch this. I've done it. I've gone to Japan before. I will do it again just for this movie. All right. Let's move on to a website, actually. I know there are a ton of Gundam fans out there. I'm kind of on the light side. I was really into it back in the Gundam Wing era. Nowadays, not so much, just because there's just a wide assortment of anime for me to watch. I can't really focus on, one certain series. But if you are, a fan of the series, if you build the epic, models, if you like to play with the online games, there is now a website for you. It is called Gundam.info, and it is an official porter site for everything Gundam. This actually has Japanese and English language support. And this features information about the anime, the models, merchandise, videos, music. I mean, you name it. If it's part of Gundam and it's official, it's on this website. And because they're, the complete refurbishment of it, and essentially this is a reopening now that has, the English language added in and whatnot, they have a registration campaign. So it's, go through it, register. I believe it's free. You can check it out. You can just go to gundam.info, and until the end of February, everybody who registers a brand new account is eligible to win prizes, things like iPad minis, telephone cards, and the like. So if you guys like Gundam and you want to check out this website, you have a chance to win some prizes. I call it win-win if anything else. So that's gundam.info. Okay. Moving right along into that information I was talking about, the dub. It has been announced that the Fate Zero series, a really, really epic series, it will receive an English dub. Viz is the one behind it, of course. And obviously, because it's an English dub, it's going to stream first on Neon Alley. For those of you who have subscriptions to that, you're going to have first rights to this, to watch it stateside. And I, for one, actually envy you. I've yet to pick up a subscription myself. I did the 30-day trial. I actually appreciate it. I liked it so far. But I haven't had a job to actually pay for a monthly subscription, more than what I'm already paying for, like Crunchyroll and Anime Network and whatnot. So, but those of you who have a Neon Alley subscription, you're going to get this first. And there's a couple reasons why you should be excited for this. One, I'll say more than a few. One, the voice acting talent that is listed for, this dub is top notch. We're talking Matt Mercer, Bridget Hoffman, Crispin Freeman, Grant George, Johnny Young Bosch has a role. Kyle A. Bear has a role. He's Berserker. That's going to be awesome. And the best part about all of this, who's gonna voice Saber? None other than Kari Walgren. She is a phenomenal voice actress. I had the chance to meet her a few years ago. I've always loved her work, not only just in the anime field, but small side fact that if you are a fan of Archer, season 2 episode 1, the little Swedish girl, yeah, that's her. You should watch it, and it gets a whole new meaning when you watch it again, knowing that. So, one thing I like about this is that Viz actually put out a trailer, so it's no longer just, hey, we're going to have this dub, and we're not going to give you any sort of idea of what to expect. No, they finally released a trailer. Well, let me just check that out real quick. We'll talk the other reasons why you should be excited for this afterwards. Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, some of the characters' voices seem a little more mature than the Japanese version, but given the fact it's being translated over here stateside, I think that actually going to be work for the better on it. So, one of the other reasons why I wanted to, think you should be happy about this is that English dubs, and I've said this time and time again, have started to become, significantly better than, late 80s, early 90s. They were all right. I mean, you had Ocean Studios doing some fantastic stuff. They're still doing stuff today, just not as many. You also have, a ton of great voice actors and actresses who have spent years refining their craft, and they've really taken it to the next level. Now, I'm always one who will watch a series in either English or Japanese. I really don't have too much of a preference. Let me rephrase that. There are some series I have a preference, but overall, it doesn't really matter. I'll still watch it either way. You still get a great experience. But recently, they've been getting a lot better, and this is, just by the little taste we got right there, I think this is going to be a fantastic dub. Now, here's the final reason why you should be happy about this. Those of you who remember checking out the initial release, Blu-ray release of the Fate Zero set, the Blu-ray set that Aniplex of America brought over from Japan. It was nice in the fact that it was absolutely everything that the people in Japan received, which is something we rarely get here stateside. We always get, something that the American side companies had to create to make up for the fact we all couldn't read Japanese. But the only problem with it was in 2 parts, and it was very, very expensive. And we're talking hundreds of dollars for just half of a series. Granted, it was on Blu-ray and it looked fantastic, and you had basically all the bonuses that you received over in Japan, but you were paying literally out the ass for it. Now, we can easily get into the conversation of, well, that's what they're paying over in Japan, that's what we should be paying here. And then you can get into the whole thing with value about how, most people, myself included, kind of feel a little stiff if I'm paying more than $60 for a series on Blu-ray, but we're not going to have that conversation. That'll be an entire episode just that. But here's the thing, though. The fact that Viz has their own dub coming out. Yes, it's going to be on Neon Alley first, but after it has its role on Neon Alley, it's going to come out on Blu-ray. And for those of you who weren't, didn't have the funds to spend, $400+ on getting the original set when it came out, I can almost guarantee, and I hope I'm right on this, that with the English dub, you're going to see a significant reduction in the price. Granted, you won't get all the really cool stuff that, fans in Japan receive, but if you're looking for just a solid box set, solid Blu-ray box set of this great series in both English and Japanese dub, it'll actually be within a price range you can actually afford. That's what I'm looking at. I mean, the fact that it came out before for, I think it was like $300 to $400 for the set, and then you're gonna have this English dub attached to it. I don't think they're gonna make the same mistake twice. Now, granted, Aniplex of America has been making more announcements about bringing other Blu-ray states stateside, or Blu-ray sets stateside, and still keeping the enormously huge prices. We won't get into that value thing again, like I said. I think once they include the English dub to it, the fact that now the American companies have a say in it, they're probably going to lower the price. I'm totally for this. Not only will you get the great series on both, in English and Japanese, you also get it on Blu-ray, have a great in 1020 or 1080p, sorry. I was thinking 720 for a second there. I think this is going to be a great thing. So, yeah. Fate Zero Anime is getting an English dub. It's going to be starting sometime this spring on the PlayStation 3. If you guys have a subscription, go check it out. I might have, the money to check it out at that time with you and let you guys know what I think of it. But yeah, if anything, if you don't have a subscription to Neon Alley and don't plan to, wait till the end of this year. We might get an announcement that we'll get it on Blu-ray for a significantly reduced price. All right. Let's talk about Index, certain magical Index. This is an incredibly awesome series. It was, had 2 seasons of Magical Index. It had a spin-off series, which I actually liked a little better, Scientific Railgun. And I was hoping for more. And I've talked about this before, about this movie that's coming out. It's supposed to continue on the Index series instead of basically a reboot, a restart, a retelling. We're gonna do a side story, whatnot. No, this actually continues where the series left off. I'm incredibly happy for this. No word yet if this one's receiving an English dub, but they did release a longer trailer for it, and it actually gets me a hell of a lot more excited for this movie when it comes out. So I mean, it comes out, I think. I want to say that only not too far from now. I think late February. So here's hoping that we'll get this movie sometime by the end of the year stateside, but it is coming out in Japan on the 23rd of this month. And in accordance with that, they released this trailer. So let's go ahead and check that out. From someone who has watched this series, that is just beyond cool. Now, I saw someone state in the chat, is that Marissa? Is it Toho in there? No. I granted that character did look a lot like Marissa. And the company behind, the production company behind Index has a tendency to have their characters, do cameos in other series. So wouldn't be surprised at all if it went the other way. Of course, there was also a brand new character that was introduced for this movie. One of the things I really like about this is that the original author of the light novels that this is based off of actually is on board and created a brand new storyline, helped out with a brand new character. You had the original character designer come in to create these, new character, and I'm sure a bunch of new mech designs. It's just beyond epic. And like I said, the main reason why I'm stoked about this is the fact that it's a continuation. So more often than not, you get a movie that's a recap of the series, or maybe a side story sometime during the series. This is an actual, honest to goodness continuation. I'm so stoked for that. And if this does well, I'm hoping for a Railgun movie, and I'm hoping for season 3 of Index and season 2 of Railgun. But, if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, I believe it's streaming online. I'm not sure which stream site. I think Crunchyroll, if not the Anime Network, maybe Viz. I don't think, it might have been Funimation. I'm not sure. I don't know. You guys can check them out. You guys know where, to find them. It is an absolute fantastic series. I highly recommend it. And I was just watching the entire series in preparation for this movie. Okay. Let's talk about GITS, Ghost in the Shell. We talked about a few weeks ago that there is a new Ghost in the Shell project in the works called Ghost in the Shell Arise. We have no idea what to expect from this. It could be a movie, it could be a series, it could be just a number of things. Now, for those of you who don't remember, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and I gave this big old spiel about why I'm concerned. Because when you think Ghost in the Shell nowadays, you think about the series, Standalone Complex, because that had season 1, season 2, and then they had a movie that was actually tied in with the universe of the TV series. And it is by far and away one of my favorite series of all time. So when it was announced, I was like, all right, cool. And then they started releasing photos, little, sketches of, what the Major looks like. And she looks nothing like, the previous series incarnation. Now, granted, this could be a good or a bad thing. It's just different. And from someone who's so ingrained in the series and so, a big fan of the movies and whatnot, seeing this completely different Motoko, it puts you a little on edge, because you're like, well, I love this series. Why are you changing this? Now, granted, the world does not revolve around me, nor do I want it to, but I want more information about this. They made an announcement stating that there's going to be a press conference on the 12th of February, so next Tuesday, I believe. Well, next Tuesday, Wednesday, at like 9 p.m. Japan time, JST. Well, the thing is, I was going to stay up, I was debating to stay up, because that would translate to 4 a.m. Pacific time. So I had to be either staying up all night or wake up hell early. But then I thought, you know what? I don't know what they're going to announce. It's all going to be in Japanese. I'm not sure if I can get any information out of it. And then the announcement came. It's going to be an hour long. They're going to include, several announcements about the series, the opening animation, promotional video. The chief director is going to be there, character designer, script writer, a couple special guests. And it's going to be streamed in English. So, you might want to join me next week at 4 a.m. Pacific time, 7 a.m. Eastern, to check this out. It's going to be an hour long. You can check it out from the Ghost in the Shell Arise website. I'll post links to that online when it gets closer to it. But I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, I was hesitant at the beginning because they made significant changes in the staff that's working on it. Let's start off with the music. Like I said, we'll do a quick recap. The original TV series and the third movie had the music done by the legendary Yoko Kanno, and I'm thinking, cool, bring her back. They didn't. They brought in another composer that I actually really like, but in a slightly different genre, I would say, is a group called Cornelius, or a man, I should say, called Cornelius. He has some pretty weird stuff out there, and I like it, but I don't initially put that in the same, set as Yoko Kanno's soundtrack for the Ghost in the Shell series. So we'll have to see. we have at least Production IG is handling the the actual art, so we know it's going to be high quality. The scriptwriter for this series is the person who worked on Marduk's Scramble, both the manga and the anime, which is pretty weird and pretty intense at certain times. If you actually have read or seen it, it's pretty cool. But they've only announced who's going to be there and what they're going to show. They haven't given us any information about what the actual project is about. And you know what? I decided, so you know what? I'm going to predict a few things just by, I guess you can call it hopes and dreams, I guess, but a little more on the realistic side. And I could be completely wrong. We will find out next week. I will let you guys know during next week's show how close to the truth that I get, or was I just completely wrong and a moron. As far as production length, I'm thinking a 13 episode season, hopefully 2, because it's incredibly rare to get a season with more than 13 episodes nowadays. I mean, back in the day, you would get 26, even 52 episodes for a series, but for this one, 13 episodes for a season, I can see that. I mean, Production IG did that with Guilty Crown, and that was spectacular. So I think they're going to stick along that same path. I would be very surprised if they decide to go either the movie route or just an OVA route, because it's such a popular and beloved franchise that something as already unique as the new character designs, I think it needs actually the time, as a TV series to get people comfortable with it. As for story, I'm going to say it's actually going to be a retelling of the Puppet Master, but it's going to be closer to the manga version, because the Puppet Master in season 1 of the TV series was, it took liberties, it took several liberties. The other reason why I'm saying this is because the mangaka himself, Masamune Shirow, is a part of this project team. He's actually working on this with the team. That hasn't happened with the TV series. I mean, that was mostly, I give you guys permission to use this, this, and this, and go for it. He has his own stuff. He's kind of a hermit himself. The fact that they got him to work as a partner on this new project that's saying a lot. And maybe we'll see a return of the Fuchikoma, which is basically the Tachikoma from the original manga. The reason why they couldn't use the phrase Fuchikoma or even that same design was because of copyright issues, which is why when you go to like the manga, you'll see images like this. I mean, that was the Fuchikoma. Little different from what you normally expect, which is why the Tachikomas you remember from the TV series were a little more slender. They had, a different design in the face. But you know what? It's all good. I still find it funny that in one of my volumes, I come across this scene of renovated Fuchikomas, which kind of look like the Uchikomas from the final scene of the third movie. And of course, they're doing the Cherry Blossom, Watch Festival. I don't know. We might see this design pop up again, and for this this new project, I think it's gonna be more closely tied to the manga than it was for the original TV series, which could somewhat explain the reason why they're going so different in the design of the major Motoko. But I could be wrong. Who knows? I would say, aside from the plot, the story would probably be a little more net-based than reality, just for the sole fact of you have Shirow part of this, as part of the project, but the actual script is written by I just forgot his name for a moment. Let me find it real quick. Tao Ubakata. And like I said, he's the one that worked on Marduk's Scramble, which kind of has the same, cyberpunk kind of feel from the original Ghost in the Shell manga. But that one got, I'd say pretty dark. I mean, Ghost in the Shell itself got pretty dark at certain points, but right off the bat, Marduk's Scramble got pretty dark. So I'm expecting a little more on the net side, a little more on the psychological side than you got from like the TV show. Even the second movie, it got pretty heady at times. I don't think it'll go that far, but it'll get pretty close, I would say. Let's see. Do I have anything else I want to state about this? Because I can be completely right. I could be completely wrong. I mean, well, let me ask this. What do you guys think? I mean, if you guys have ideas or predictions, what do you think is going to happen from this project? Shoot, send me information. Send me send me a tweet. OtakuLife Jason. You can send me something on Facebook, which is also OtakuLife Jason, and I'll post them up for next week, and we'll see how we're all, if we're all right, we're all wrong. How close did we get? Because it's all up in the air. We have no idea what to expect from this. But that's what I'm saying. It's going to be a 13-episode season. It's going to be a retelling of the Puppet Master close to the manga. You're going to see a Tachikoma design probably much more resembles the Fuchikomas from the manga. And it's going to be more net-based than reality. That's all I'm going to say. Some people might say that's kind of a weak, I'm not going too much into the details. But you know what? That's just me. So, all right. Let's get to guest announcements. I know that we're starting to kick up, a lot more news from the anime cons. The season's starting to kick into gear. And there actually has been some pretty awesome announcements this past week. Otakon, oh, how I love you. You guys have announced some really, really badass people already for this year. They've already announced TM Revolution coming back to Otakon. He was back there, I think, in 2002, 2003, and put on a massive concert. So he's coming back. And we also have, where are they at? There they are. Homemade Kazoku. This is a Japanese hip-hop group. You might remember them. They've actually worked on themes for Bleach, Naruto Shippuden, and my favorite, Eureka 7, among others. They've put on some incredible stuff. They also have previously performed at Otakon. They're making a comeback. I am massively looking forward to this. I've always wanted to go to Otakon, and I seriously am trying to get the money to go this year, because it's always been a blast from everybody that has gone that I've talked to. So I need to check out an East Coast con. I've only gone to West Coast cons. I need to go to East Coast and check it out over there. Maybe there's some, Midwest ones I can check out as well. Let's also talk about... let's talk about AX. Why not? They are the largest anime convention. And, of course, I will definitely be there. I've put in panel applications. I'm hoping to get, a yay or nay from that in the next, couple months. So I'll let you guys know. But they have finally made an announcement of a Japanese guest. So far, they've announced, I think, 4 English voice actors, which, okay, that's fine, whatever. Some really cool people. I've actually met several of them. And they finally announced their first Japanese guest. And it's kind of a decent one. We're talking, she's a writer of a ton of their incredibly popular series, including ones that are still going on today. Her name is Mari Okada, and she has worked on stuff like Darker Than Black, Anohana, which is a very... It definitely hits you in the feels, I will say that. It's a very strongly emotional title. Also, lighter stuff, Black Butler, and right now, AKB 0048. So she's worked on all of them. She's also worked on stuff like Basilisk, Angel Tales, Rosen Maiden, of all things. I mean, she's worked on a ton of stuff, even on the most recent Lupin the Third series. So she has a really high pedigree. So she is going to be there at Anime Expo. I'm sure she's doing the whole thing where she'll do a Q&A panel. She'll probably do autograph sessions. But yeah, you guys can check out, I think it's on the Anime Expo website, her whole list. If not, check out animenewsnetwork.com for the information. Yeah, I think this is actually kind of cool. I will definitely love to meet her if I can. But, there's still some time left. I mean, they have, 5 months left before Anime Expo, so I'm sure they'll start announcing guests on a more frequent basis. Kathy the Goth in the chat, I had to bring Daisuke Ono. You've been asking for that for years, I remember. And, when I was still there, I actually put the name in, but, I'm not the one that makes the decision, so, especially not anymore. But let's talk about the surprise that I got out of all the guest announcements for this week. Is actually Anime Week in Atlanta. It's another East Coast one I've known for quite a while. Have not had a chance to go out there myself. Know people who have. And they announced not one, but 3 guests this week. I think this is pretty badass. They will have Yu Asakawa in the middle, popular voice actress. You also have a very popular and very experienced voice actor, Mitsuo Iwata, who worked on stuff from Golden Boy to Akira to Galgai Gear. I mean, amazing stuff. And then the guy on the left, yeah, you already got in the chance. Yeah, Zune. If you've played any Toho game whatsoever, that's who you want to meet, Zune himself. Because the whole series is still being developed by only him. So if you are a Toho fan, you want to go to Anime Weekend Atlanta this year. Now, you have plenty of time to save up if you want to go, because this con's not until like mid-September. So you have plenty of time. It's a 3-day con, 27th through the 29th of September. And these are only the first 3 guests that they've announced. I think they're going to announce some pretty epic guests this year. Beyond what they already announced. And of course, Semafugu in the chat. Very nice pick of Zune drinking beer. What else does Zune do? He makes Toho and he drinks beer. So, Okay. Let's wrap things up with some video game news. I'm going to try to keep patient and not rant too long on this note. I've talked about the Scott Pilgrim game for ever since it was announced. Classic 16-bit graphics, fun addictive gameplay, but it's always been just offline multiplayer. You had to have someone with you, and they were always promising online DLC, so you can play online and include different characters and whatnot. And I look at it and I'm going, okay, when are you going to release this? And I think it was back in October of 2012 they made the announcement, yes, we have online multiplayer DLC coming, by such and such a date. Well, that date passed, and then they announced another date, and then that date passed. And then they came out and stated, okay, we're 100% sure it's coming out in February. We know for a fact it's coming out in February. We have everything, ready to go. We even have a trailer for this, and we're going to showcase you can actually get Wallace Wells as a playable character in this DLC, along with the online multiplayer aspect. It was supposed to come out today. What did we get yesterday? Oh, we're not ready yet. It needs to continue on. I mean, I'm hoping, there's no chance it's going to become a vaporware. But it's like, at this rate, Final Fantasy 13 Versus is going to come out before this DLC does. So, we'll see what happens. It's just like, damn it, I want to play this online. It was such a great game. It was very nostalgic for me, but yeah. There's trailers for it online if you guys want to check that out. The last thing I want to make the quick announcement is, as we've been talking about both on this show and on From Mother's Basement, that this is the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy, of the entire franchise. And, of course, there's a ton of stuff that's planned for both Japan and the United States, both in terms of games and, more announcements and special events and whatnot. And the official PlayStation blog, just blog.us.playstation.com, I think is what it is. You can search it up online. They made the announcement, I think yesterday, that in honor of the 25th anniversary, they are putting a number of the classic Final Fantasy titles on sale on the PlayStation Network for starting at 50% off. I mean, we're talking about the Dissidia games, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These subs are available like on the PS3 under the PS1 Classics. We have stuff for PSP, which will just port over to the PS Vita. I mean, these are some pretty epic games. If you guys haven't had a chance to play all of them, and I know that there's still a few of you who haven't played all of them, you can get these for half off right now. For the next 2 weeks, you can get them for 50% off. That's incredible. I might honestly pick up... I might pick up 9 because I haven't played 9 in ages. I mean, I have 7 for the PC, but... we'll see what happens. HPL in the chat, any love for PC users? Sadly, no. This is just for the PlayStation Network. the fact that, you know, people hope this stuff will come out on PC, and it does. I mean, there was an official release for Final Fantasy VII on the PC, which I still have. I'm still waiting to get like an official like collection for the PC. It'd be great if all of a sudden I, you know, pop on Steam one day and I see Square Enix entitled Final Fantasy Collection on Steam. I will buy all of that in a heartbeat. But yeah, so for the next 2 weeks, a ton of Final Fantasy games are 50% off or more on the PlayStation Network. But I think that's going to be about it for this episode. Didn't want to make it too long because we have a lot of stuff to talk about for next week. I didn't want to take it all for just this week. If you guys have any suggestions for, you know, future topics, send me a tweet, send me Facebook. It's the same, OtakuLife Jason. Feel free to give me a follow on there. Tell your friends about it. This show is every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Rain or shine, I will make sure that I'm here. And yeah, like I said before, if you guys have any predictions about Ghost in the Shell or Rise, you want to send me a message on Facebook or Twitter, and I'll read them on next week's show, and we can all find out who was right, who was wrong, and if we're all going to be happy or sad about this upcoming project. So that's going to be it for this episode. Stay tuned for post-show, and yeah, thank you for joining for AniBreak. I'm Jason, and I'll see you guys next week. Later.